and his strategy to keep it the hottest casual dining chain in the country.
I know the kitchen was a big focus in making it more efficient. What were top changes you made there, and what was the payoff?
One of the ideas actually came from our culinary team. A lot of players in casual dining, and Chili's was one of them, forgot about why do people go out, and if we don't deliver on that, why will we expect our business to grow? They served all of us 2 identical Old Timers with cheese. That's our most popular burger. And they had us taste each one and then say, oh, what was the difference? And one of the executives was like, oh, the burger's different. Another one was like, oh, the cheese is different. Another one's like, oh, the bun's toasted differently. We all got it wrong. The pickles were different.
You walk into Chili's and the menu looks like a battlefield. Bright photos, stacked dishes, heavy descriptions. But which items are traps? Just like a commander steering his unit away from a fatal ambush, you need to know which dishes are tactical failures before you order. In this video, we'll dissect 5 of the worst positions you can take at Chili's.
Hochman has also zeroed in on the equipment. His team looked for small changes they could make to save cooking time and money.
So for example, on a burger and fries, sounds simple, right? A lot goes into that. And the fries, what we found was, one, they weren't as hot as they could be.
Was there things about consumer surveys, or what had you seen when you first started that said to you, the food's got to be better and this is what I need to do?
Well, I mean, you could talk to guests, but you also talk to the team members. I mean, the team members would tell you that the food needed to be better. Home office's fault, because we gave them 2 fries to make, so we had a curly fry and a straight fry. So if you just have one fry, you can make it hotter and fresher. And then the seasoning process was almost impossible. So after the fries are cooked, they're put on what's called a save-a-week pan, and then they're supposed to take the shaker and do it 30 times.
And more importantly, show you how to redeploy your appetite toward winning alternatives. The difference between a strong meal and a surrender might be just one wrong choice. Ready to spot the hidden targets? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
So you skinnied down the menu. Why is the menu that you have now the right menu?
Huge advantages come out of slimming down the menu, or allows us to make the food better. So for example, the chicken crispers, we used to have 2 chicken crispers. We had a tempura battered crisper called the original crisper. And when you go into the back of the restaurant, the heart of the house, they have very small little pans with which they can bread each of those flavors, right? Because there's 2 flavors in this breading station that's about this big. When we got rid of the 20% variant, we could now have one big vat where we can make 24 at a time. It's about 20% of the chicken crisper business. And then we had a conventional extra crispy, we call it a crispy crisper. It's 80% of the business, right?
One of Chili's most popular appetizers looks harmless at first glance. Golden, crispy, stacked on a plate like a rally banner. It invites the whole table into its orbit, but that's where the ambush begins. This dish is no safe ground. It's a minefield covered in melted cheese, fried batter, grease, and sodium hidden under heavy seasoning. Loaded starters are designed to lure you with impact. The photo shows glowing orange sauces, a melted layer of cheese stretching in every direction, and toppings piled like sandbags on a defensive wall. What you don't see is the weight behind that glossy surface. It's a payload too big for any unit to carry into the next round. People treat this appetizer like a unifying flag. It lands on the table, everyone grabs a piece, spirits lift, and for a short while, it feels like momentum is building. But in truth, you're burning fuel before the real mission even begins. The first forkful feels like a morale boost, yet every bite is laying down barriers against your own ability to withstand the main course.
These types of trims have slimmed down the menu by 25% in the last 2 years. But the chain has also added an important new item.
So the Big Smasher, which you introduced last year, I know was a really important moment for you, for the brand.
Versus the old way, you could make 1 or 2 at a time. So sometimes people say they love variety, and they do, but variety can sometimes get in the way of making things consistently really, really well. And that's a great example where today we only have 1 recipe. We sell 66% more sales in chicken crispers today than we did 3 years ago.
Developing the Big Smasher, and then also marketing-wise, going after fast food.
Yeah, so one of the things that our team saw, or a little longer than a year ago, was in social media, people were posting their fast food receipts, and they were complaining about how expensive things were.
Picture it this way. Think of an armored tank reinforced with extra plating. Yes, it looks indestructible rolling out of the base. But load it with too many layers of steel, and the machine can no longer move quickly, cannot maneuver with precision, and loses effectiveness in the very fight it was built for. That's exactly the story of these overloaded appetizers. Strong on entry, but crippling once the battle turns serious. Appetizers such as Chili's loaded boneless wings or the signature Southwestern egg rolls can weigh in at over 1,500 calories. That's not a small hit. That's a full wave of enemy fire before you've even stepped onto the main field. One plate has enough calories to rival or surpass the entree that follows, meaning the fight is already half lost before you've even begun the campaign. But it doesn't stop with calories. The real stealth weapon is sodium. The salt content in a single heavy appetizer can push most of your recommended daily intake before your entree even shows up. Think about the tactical failure in that move. Sodium draws water into the system, cranks up blood pressure, and leaves you feeling heavy, drained, and stalled out, just when you need mobility the most. The excess fat was obvious. The sodium was hidden in the shadows. Together, they pack not just your plate, but your whole day with extra baggage. Now imagine the effect on the unit. You came in ready to fight through an entree of ribs, fajitas, or burgers. But after knocking down a plate of loaded wings drenched in cheese sauce and fried skins, the team is already sluggish. Eyes are heavy, focus is blurred, and the real weapons, the mains that should define the evening, are reduced to secondary skirmishes nobody has the capacity to win. So what's the tactical pivot? When the appetizer feels like a mandatory rally point, you don't need to charge straight into the minefield. You can shift. Chili's has lighter positions, fresh guacamole, or straight-up chips and salsa. Still communal, still morale building, still a rally. But instead of burning fuel on grease and sodium overload, these keep your formation flexible and ready for the next round. Avocado brings healthy fats that don't grind the engine into the dirt, and salsa delivers flavor at low cost to calorie count or sodium load. That's the kind of pre-battle tactic that holds reserves for where it matters. The lesson is simple. Committing too heavy here is like firing all your artillery on the first volley. You make noise, you inflict some immediate impact, but when the Real clash begins, your formation has no power left. Choosing the wrong appetizer drains strength from the battle's decisive moments. Choosing the right one preserves resources for the strike that matters. But appetizers are only the opening round. If the first ambush sits in front of the battle map, the big-ticket weapons, the entrees, carry traps even more dangerous, and the flaws they conceal can level an entire evening. A Chili's menu is not just comfort food, it's a battlefield. Every dish is a position, every choice a maneuver. Order wrong, and you dig trenches too early, trapping yourself in calories, grease, and sodium. Order right, and you preserve fuel, keep momentum, and leave the table stronger than you entered. You need to act like a strategist. Redeploy your appetite toward lighter strongholds. Hold fire until the decisive strike, and protect endurance for the main fight that matters. Subscribe and join a community that doesn't just eat. We analyze, adapt, and win.